The Wiseman just threatened JEY USO. Paul Heyman, the man who manipulated G for years under Roman Reigns' control, who treated him like a servant, who made him sacrifice everything for the bloodline, just cornered G backstage on Raw and delivered the most chilling warning we've heard in months. You're not safe anymore. What does that mean? Is Heyman threatening G on behalf of someone else? Is this about the vision? Is Roman Reigns returning to punish G for moving on? If you think this is just mind games, if you think Heyman is bluffing, then you haven't been paying attention to how dangerous the Wiseman becomes when someone betrays his plans. Because what happened backstage wasn't just a conversation, it was a declaration that USO's independence has made him a target. And I'm about to break down exactly why this confrontation proves G is in more danger than he's ever been. The segment started innocently enough. USO was walking through the backstage area after his match, towel around his neck, clearly exhausted but satisfied with his performance. The crowd had been electric for him. G was finally thriving as his own man, away from the bloodline shadow, building his legacy on his terms. He was heading toward his locker room when suddenly the lights in the hallway flickered. G stopped, immediately on alert. Anyone who's been in WWE long enough knows flickering lights mean trouble. And then, from the shadows, Paul Heyman emerged. Not rushing, not aggressive, just slowly walking toward G with that calculated, sinister expression that's preceded every major manipulation in his career. G's body language changed instantly. His shoulders tensed. His fists clenched. You could see years of trauma flooding back. What do you want, Heyman? I'm done with you. Done with Roman. Done with all of that. G's voice was defensive, but you could hear the underlying fear. Paul Heyman smiled, that sick smile that tells you he's already 10 steps ahead. G. So hostile. I simply wanted to have a conversation with an old friend. Is that so wrong? His tone was mockingly pleasant, which made it even more terrifying. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Paul Heyman is working for Roman Reigns, or does he have his own agenda against G? We ain't friends, Heyman. We were never friends. You used me. You manipulated me for years. G was backing up, creating distance, but Heyman kept slowly advancing. Used you? Oh G, I elevated you. Without the bloodline, without Roman, without me, you were just another tag team wrestler. I made you relevant. The words cut deep. You could see it on G's face. Because as much as he hated to admit it, there was a grain of truth. The bloodline had elevated G's profile. But at what cost? Years of abuse. Years of being treated as lesser than. Years of being Roman's enforcer instead of his own man. I don't need you anymore. I don't need Roman. I'm doing fine on my own. G was trying to sound confident, but his voice wavered slightly. Heyman noticed and his smile grew wider. Are you though? Doing fine? Let me ask you something, G, where's your championship? Where's your WrestleMania main event? You're popular, sure. The fans love you. But love doesn't equal power. Love doesn't equal protection. Heyman stepped closer, his voice dropping to almost a whisper, and that's why I'm here, G. To deliver a message you need to hear. You're not safe anymore. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. G's expression shifted from defensive to angry. Is that a threat? You threatening me, Heyman? G stepped forward, getting in Heyman's face. But the Wiseman didn't flinch. He just stared at G with those cold, calculating eyes. A threat? No, G. A warning. You think leaving the bloodline made you free? It made you vulnerable. You think standing on your own makes you strong? It makes you a target. There are people in this company, powerful people, who see your independence as disrespect. Who see your success as a problem that needs to be eliminated. Second question for the comments, who do you think wants to eliminate USO? Roman? Solo? Someone else entirely? Who? Roman sent you to scare me. Tell him I ain't scared. I beat him once, I'll do it again. G was fired up now, his voice rising, but Heyman just shook his head slowly. Oh G, you think this is about Roman? You think the tribal chief concerns himself with former subjects? No. This is about something much bigger. You've become a symbol, G. A symbol of rebellion. A symbol that shows other wrestlers they can leave powerful groups and survive. And there are people who can't allow that symbol to exist. Heyman circled G like a predator. The vision is watching you, G. They see what you represent, independence, defiance, the courage to stand alone. And they need to crush that. Because if you can succeed outside a faction, others might try. And that threatens their entire philosophy. The camera caught G's face, confusion mixed with realization. Was Heyman talking about the Vision faction that's been terrorizing Raw? The group with LA Knight, Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Logan Paul. Were they targeting G? Why are you telling me this? Why warn me if you're with them? G was suspicious, rightfully so. Paul Heyman doesn't do anything without a hidden agenda. Heyman's expression became almost sympathetic. But with Heyman, you can never tell what's real, because despite everything, G, I do have a certain fondness for you. You were loyal for so long, you suffered for the bloodline, and I respect that. So consider this conversation a professional courtesy. You're not safe anymore. The Vision is coming for you, and when they do, you'll have two choices. Heyman held up two fingers. Choice 1, you can fight alone and be destroyed, broken and forgotten like so many who stood against unstoppable forces. Or choice 2, he paused for dramatic effect. You can come back to the bloodline, come back to protection. Roman may be willing to forgive your betrayal if you never. G cut him off. I will never go back to being Roman's dog. I'd rather fight the Vision alone than go back to that prison. G's voice was shaking with emotion. Years of pain and abuse in those words. Heyman sighed, almost disappointed. Then you've made your choice. And I truly hope you survive what's coming, G. Because the Vision doesn't just beat opponents, they erase them. They end careers. They destroy legacies. And you, standing alone with your pride and your independence? You're going to learn a very painful lesson about the price of freedom. Third question, comment your prediction. Will G rejoin the bloodline to survive, or will he find allies to fight the Vision? Heyman started to walk away but turned back one final time. Oh, and G? When the Vision comes for you, and they will come, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say Paul Heyman didn't give you a chance to save yourself. Because what happens next? The blood is on your hands. The lights flickered again, and when they stabilized, Heyman was gone. Just vanished into the shadows like a phantom. G stood alone in that hallway, breathing heavily, looking around nervously. The camera zoomed in on his face. You could see the wheels turning. Was Heyman telling the truth? Was the Vision really targeting him? Or was this elaborate manipulation? Kayla Braxton rushed over with a camera crew. G, what did Paul Heyman want? What was that about? But G just shook his head and walked away quickly, clearly shaken by the encounter. Now let's break down what this really means. Because Paul Heyman doesn't make threats without purpose. Every word he speaks has layers of meaning. So what's the real message here? Theory 1, Heyman is telling the truth. The Vision genuinely sees G as a threat to their ideology. Think about it, the Vision is built on the idea that you need a group to succeed in WWE. That individuals get crushed but factions dominate. USO is living proof that you can succeed alone. His popularity, his main event matches, his connection with fans, all achieved without a stable. That contradicts everything the Vision stands for. Theory 2, Heyman is lying to manipulate G back to the bloodline. Roman Reigns is somewhere watching, and he wants G back under his control. Heyman is creating a fake threat so G feels vulnerable and returns to safety. Classic manipulation, create the problem, then offer yourself as the solution. Theory 3, Heyman is playing both sides. Maybe he's secretly with the Vision and he's actually targeting G on their behalf. But he's pretending to warn G to maintain plausible deniability. Heyman could be the mastermind who's about to orchestrate G's destruction while looking innocent. Theory 4, this is about someone else entirely. What if you're not safe anymore has nothing to do with the Vision or the bloodline? What if there's a third party we don't know about yet? A returning superstar? A debuting wrestler? Someone with a grudge against G that we haven't seen yet? The genius of this segment is that we don't know which theory is correct. Heyman has created doubt, fear, and uncertainty. That's what makes him the greatest manager in wrestling history. He can plant seeds that grow into paranoia. Here's what we do know, USO is now looking over his shoulder. He's going to be paranoid about every interaction, every match, every backstage segment, because Heyman got in his head. And when you're distracted by fear, you make mistakes. You become vulnerable. And if the Vision does attack G, whether Heyman was lying or not, G is alone. He doesn't have the USOs backing him up. Jimmy betrayed him. He doesn't have the bloodline, he left them. He doesn't have a faction. So who's going to help him when 5 or 6 men attack at once? This could force G into an impossible decision. Does he swallow his pride and rejoin the bloodline for protection? Does he try to form his own faction to counter the Vision? Does he ask former enemies for help? Every option requires G to compromise something he values. The psychology here is brilliant. WWE has put G in a position where his greatest strength, his independence, could become his greatest weakness. The story writes itself from here. My prediction? The Vision will attack G. Whether Heyman orchestrated it or genuinely warned him, the attack is coming. And when it happens, we'll see what G is really made of. Will he fold? Will he fight? Will he compromise his values? That's compelling television. This confrontation also sets up potential alliances. Maybe G teams with Seth Rollins, another Vision target. Maybe Cody Rhodes steps in to help. Maybe even CM Punk recovers and wants revenge on the Vision, making G his ally. The possibilities are endless. But the scariest possibility? What if Heyman is right and G can't survive alone? What if this story ends with JEY broken, beaten, and forced to crawl back to Roman Reigns begging for protection? That would be heartbreaking but incredibly powerful storytelling. Share this video because HEYMAN's threat to JEY is the most intense storyline on Raw. Comment which theory you believe, is HEYMAN helping or hurting JEY? Like if you think JEY should stay independent. Subscribe to Wrestling World CC because we're covering every development in this story. Paul Heyman just told JEY USO you're not safe anymore. The Vision is supposedly hunting him. JEY stands alone against potential annihilation. Will he survive? Will he find allies? Will he be forced back to the bloodline? The next few weeks will define JEY's entire career. And the wise man? He's already 10 steps ahead of everyone. This is just the beginning.